Hello again, this is Robert Schein, Managing Director and Partner of Blanke Schein Wealth Management. I'm excited today to have a special guest with us, Brian Harnik. He's, if you're local here in the Palm Desert area, everyone knows Brian. He's a very successful attorney. He's got a very successful practice and several decades of not only running a wonderful practice for Brian and all of his team over there, but very specifically, he's very generous with his time and all the endeavors he does in the nonprofit side of the community of the Palm Desert. So Brian, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Rob, thank you so much. And I think if I heard you correctly, you just called me old in a very, very nice way. But I also, I want to just compliment all the work that the Blanke Schein group does for our community too. We're both lucky to be here and to raise our families.
We definitely are, and it takes all of us together. And I know your family and our family has done so for many decades and will continue to serve. So I appreciate that as well.
Well, good. Well, let's make this conversation interesting and hopefully helpful to the people that love watching you. And I do like watching you, by the way. Maybe it's time to change some of the pictures behind you, though, but that's good.
There you go. Yeah, I'll work on that. That'll be good. So, Brian, yeah, there's a lot of conversations out there for small business owners right now. And you know, in my practice, my wealth management practice, I've got clients that are sort of, you know, we're in this new world and we don't know what it's to look like. We know that California is in stages and phases of reopening. Specifically, can you give us an indication of what that's going to look like for small business owners?
Well, it's continuing to be a challenge. And unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, in the legal world, there are a lot of people that are keeping their eye and looking to shift cost and blame. So if you're going to be reopening, if you're a small business, you want to do so in accordance with the guidelines. It's about safety. It's about communicating confidence to people so they're willing to come back and reinvigorate our economy. But to do so, number one, you got to comply with the new laws and regulations for employees, keeping them safe, making sure that you minimize the chance of them contracting the virus. And if they do contract it, for you to take the appropriate measures to limit it, quarantine it, and contain it as best you can. Also, in terms of viewing with the public, to the extent you're in a service industry, still do as much remote as possible. But to the extent you're in retail or certainly in the restaurant business, you want to do the steps to ensure and facilitate confidence and safety. Follow those guidelines, have written protocols, make masks available to people, get social distancing. There are a lot of people that don't feel as strongly as some others about the social distancing and wearing masks. And we get that. And as Americans, we want to respect people's points of views. However, we want to be sure that we go to the lowest common denominator, being the people that are most concerned and at risk. Let's make them feel safe by encouraging the social distancing and masks, being respectful that people don't necessarily feel the same way, but when we're with each other, let's do it in a confident way. And be mindful that there are people that are genuinely nervous and concerned. And let's get them all back into business.
That's great advice. You're reopening your office soon, I imagine, or if so, what capacity?
We are reopening on Monday, June 1st. We're honored to do so. We do have protocols in place with hand sanitizers. We're requiring masks. All employees have a contactless temperature check every day. If they're feeling ill, they're not to come in. We pre-screen our visitors to be sure they're feeling okay. If we could do things remotely, we can. Rob, as you know, in your business, in the financial world that you do, and ours, because one of my partners does estate planning, there's a lot of interaction that has to be in person. Wills have to be witnessed in person. Things have to be notarized. We're taking precautions to do that appropriately, getting people feeling safe. But it's time to get started and get open again.
Yeah, you know, on the financial side, you know, we look at high frequency data as if you've been following my daily updates, and what that is, Brian, is it looks at the traffic by mobile devices across the United States, by people moving around, and we're in California, so it's a slow phased open, but other parts of the country are sort of ahead of us,
Right.
not only if not the globe, and we're seeing a lot of pent up demand. So people want to get out there, but we just have to do it, like you said, safely and properly. So that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and there's another thing too, is, you know, this is uncharted territory for all of us. It's a new world in so many ways. And one of the things that we're seeing is what positives can come out of this, both professionally in the business world and personally. And it's a great time to take stock in what's important from an estate planning perspective, for example. take a look at your estate planning. What does that look like? What's the risk of disability, and are you prepared for disability? Is your closet clean? Are you organized? And is your business world clean? You know, Rob, you and I were chatting off screen about this concept, and I love the following. If you were going to sell your car, or if you were asking me, Brian, I want you to sell your car, what would you have me do? Well, I'd have it detailed. I'd have the engine checked out. I'd have it tuned up. I'd have new tires put in. I'd have all the records together. I'd have it in tip-top shape. Why? Because it increases value. Well, why aren't we doing that for our businesses right now, whether we're selling them or not? This is a great time to get our lives, professional and personal, in tip-top shape. Estate planning, finance, and business. And I encourage everybody to take advantage of the quarantine.
That's such a great example, and I love that analogy. So it's so true. This is an opportunity to reevaluate life legal matters in all aspects. And I know, Brian, you and your team over there are very capable in doing so, and you've helped several of our clients in the past as well, especially on the business side. Talk more about that in terms of if I want to sell my business on a go-forward basis. That's pretty interesting to get. Ultimately, if I'm a business owner, I want the highest valuation possible. So, like the car washing analogy, what are some things the business owner can do today before even a year or 2 years down the road before they actually go to market?
Well, this is the perfect opportunity to, one, take a financial snapshot of what you got and take a look at it, putting yourself in the shoes of some fictitious buyer. If I was going to buy my own business, what would I look at? And I would look at my key performance indicators. I'd look at my balance sheet. I'd look at my tax returns. And I'd want to be sure that they're honest, straightforward, fair, detailed, and hopefully profitable. And if they're not, I want to look at why they're not. In terms of my physical structure, I come into this place every day, so I don't see the dust that's gathered in the corner, so to speak, the actual dust or the proverbial dust. And you want to take a fresh look. So it's a chance to take fresh eyes on everything for your business. Again, we're all, in the capitalist world, we're all about making money appropriately, legally, and fairly. Do it by get your house in order right now. In quarantine, it's the best time to clean out your closets and get organized and get efficient. We're learning to do things remotely. We're learning to use technology in ways we've never done it before. Let's continue to do so and increase our profitability, our value, and minimize risk.
So well said, and such great words of wisdom here, Brian. I know what we're going to do is we're going to have you come back for future episodes, more topics. I'd like for my audience, if you will, to send in sort of questions for me and Brian and future topic ideas, so that we can have you back. Brian, I've got one final question for you.
No.
Are we going to have baseball this season?
Oh man, I just read the Lou Gehrig book. There was the lost memoirs of Lou Gehrig. I just finished that. I am disappointed. They're talking about full on playoff format. We'll see. This has been kind of tough. I'm not happy about that.
Well, I'm in your camp. I'm an avid baseball fan. Love it, and we're looking forward to it. So
I got my Willie Mays baseball right here, baby. So.
That's it. You know what? Last quick one. Last Dance, Michael Jordan. I watched that with the kids. I actually have in possession of Michael Jordan rookie card. So that's another story for another day. But we're all excited in our house. That was at least the only sports that we saw over the last 6 weeks.
First of all, is that baseball card signed? Let's really talk. All right. Well, that's fair enough. So you could donate it to one of your charities, and they can make money. So
yeah, nice one.
That's important. Last Dance was absolutely fantastic, and of course, he hit the buzzer-beating shot to end his career on a championship.
That's pretty awesome.
Way to go out, my friend. Hey, you know what? I'm glad to chat maybe another time about the court system. The court system's reopening slowly.
Well, let's talk about that real quick.
Sure. Court system is slowly rolling out. Civil has been on hiatus except for emergencies. They're expecting an avalanche of criminal matters. They're expecting an avalanche of unlawful detain or eviction cases, both residential and commercial. Yeah. Civil trials are going to be put off for the time being. They don't have the ability to have jurors come in for civil trials, and they're really being careful. So the civil system is slowing down, and that's going to have significant impact on dispute resolution between businesses, landlord-tenant relationships, mortgage relationships. There are a lot of impacts because the access to the courts have also been impacted, and they're slowly opening. Starting June 1st in Palm Springs, the courts are going to be hearing the law and motion arguments that are part of ongoing litigation. But it is having significant fallout, and it's having effects on businesses, you know, pro and con. But it's something to navigate. And if anyone does have a dispute issue, you know, really speak to professional. You know, if you have your lawyer, you know, have a candid discussion with him or her. But it's tough times in that regard.
Brian, you know, there's so many different aspects to this reopening, dimensionally speaking. I mean, as you were speaking, I'm thinking, you know, my side of the fence is the jury duty notice.
Right.
And they even reopen and have people in the court systems and have, you know, select a jury. How do you even do that?
Well, the counties are having some real challenges with it. They don't have the physical infrastructure to address it, and they get it. So they're prioritizing, and the highest priority under our Constitution are criminal defendants. So they're navigating that. They're having live hearings to protect the rights of criminal defendants and, of course, recognize the rights of victims. So the DAs, judges, and public defenders and defense bar are handling that. The civil side is different because it's mostly money, and unfortunately, that is a lower priority. So for the time being in Riverside County, there are no civil jury trials. They have taken any case that's set for trial, like let's say I'm supposed to go to trial on September 1st. The court has changed that to a trial setting date, and they're going to set the trial out further. So they haven't figured it out yet, how they're going to get hundreds of people into a room sitting next to each other. They're not ready and willing to do that, so they're not going to. So in Riverside County, that's a big issue, that access to justice. And I will tell you that the courts and the local bar association and a lot of my wonderful colleagues in the Coachella Valley that are members of the bar, you know, my fellow attorneys, have been working closely, working hard, and have working with great collegiality to figure this mess out. But it's tough.
Well, Brian, that's another great sort of update and topic to discuss.
Okay.
I'm sure there's further and further more to go, but I want to be respectful of your day as well. And I thank you for your time. I really do. And this is a great information for our audience.
Well, it's my pleasure. There are very complicated issues. We can drill down as much as we want. Just again, it's a chance to remember what's most important. That's our family and loved ones, and staying safe and being healthy. You do that, my friend.
Stay safe and be well and stay healthy, Brian.
You betcha. Thanks.
All right.
Great.
Thanks, my friend.